Hello everyone, it's Ange de Lumière here. I'm hoping that you can hear me. This is an experiment to do Facebook Live. I haven't done one in absolutely ages. And I'm coming today for the energy of the week. I like to keep it within sort of 10 minutes. So I'm going to put my timer here so that I don't go over time. However, if you wanted to ask me questions, then of course we can do a bit longer. So I pull a card from my new deck called Healing Burnout with the Angels. I hope you can see it here. And I pulled it a bit earlier today because I wanted to make sure I included some sort of hint in my energy newsletter. So I encourage you to sign up for the energy newsletter. I'm just thinking right now that this is not very good because I won't be able to see the comments underneath. So, as I said, this is a little bit of an experiment. Let me see if I can have a look at the comments on my iPad to make sure that I can respond to you, because that's the whole point of doing a Facebook Live, right? Otherwise, why bother? So I pulled a card this morning. It just blew my mind. But first of all, what I wanted to say to you is that um, this is the fourth week I'm doing these energy readings, right? And every single week I pulled an angel card out of the deck, even though the Angel of Peace, which I think for the week of Christmas is particularly out. I'm loving that the Angel of Peace is showing up this week. It's also not a coincidence because I have been reading a book. So I don't know if you know about my podcast, True Spirituality with Ange. I have guests once a month, and in July I had a guest who is a peace activist, but from the spiritual realm. And she works with a group of 12 guides. Absolutely fascinating. She wrote several books about it, and I've been reading one of her books, which are interviews of each of the guides that are in her group of spirit guides. And because her mission is to bring peace on earth, or to help bring peace on earth from an energetic point of view. I've been reading her book, and there's a lot about peace in her book. Specifically, I should have brought the book over to look at the different guides, but it's been a very interesting read, and I might share more about it as in the weeks to come. I highly recommend you check her book. Her interview, I'm interviewing her for the second time. The interview is going to come on Friday, the 26th of December. And she's going to be doing some world predictions for us for 2026. So it's a beautiful interview. I feel that we all need some level of peace as energy in our lives, and I'll tell you why I feel this is particularly important. First of all, there's a lot of turmoil happening in the world, so sometimes it can feel a little bit selfish to want to feel secure in our homes when so much is happening, and you might even feel a little bit of guilt at celebrating something like Christmas when a lot of people can't. And obviously not everybody's Christian, so let's just put that out there anyway. Although there are quite a few celebrations around the winter solstice in different religions. So there's that. Sometimes, and this is what Barbara with teaches, and that's something that I've been talking about for as long as I've been speaking publicly about this. Peace always starts with us. You know, sometimes we want to do big gestures and go out in the world and help with world peace. But if we still have conflict in our hearts, then actually we're contributing to the energy of conflict in the world as well. So what we can definitely do is look at what's in our heart and where we're not at peace and work on that. I have been working on the peace in my heart for quite a few weeks now. I have some unfinished business with some family members that I've been working on my end energetically. And I guess I want to share a little anecdote that happened in the village where I used to live. I'm not going to cite the village. It's not here. I'm not here to point fingers, but there was a particular planning permission that had been put through and actually approved to build a landing strip for helicopters. And the village was split between two camps immediately, those who were pro and those who were against. And of course, those who were against was mostly the people who were the closest to the landing strip. And sadly, the people who created this landing strip didn't have any obligations to indemnify or to help people with the cost of putting triple glazing or some sort of sound insulation. So, of course, they were feeling aggravated, and also they were concerned that the price of their properties would drop, and I could understand all of that. And then on the camp of the pro, in particular, there was one woman, because she actually owned the field that was going to be sold to the people who wanted to build the strip. So she was absolutely for it. And I have a feeling that she was also very remote from the field, and it wouldn't have affected her on a daily basis. So almost overnight, over this particular incident or this particular topic, the village was split. And because she knew I had compassion for the people who were affected the most by this project, she literally stopped talking to me from one day to the other. Like for years, we'd never had a real relationship, but we were civil, we'd cross each other on the playground, and she would smile at me and she would always have a kind word, whatever. And then she became incredibly aggressive from one day to the other. And I thought to myself, oh my God, even in a small village in the middle of England, things can turn sour so quickly. So you can imagine if there had been a conflict ongoing for years between two parties in the village. So this is where we need to start with our efforts of peace. It's accepting that people can have different opinions than us, not demonize them over these opinions. I will draw a line, though, because I think when human rights are concerned, when racism is concerned, for example, when ableism is concerned, when all the isms are concerned, we have to draw a line, and these things are not acceptable. How we go about trying to make people understand it's not acceptable is a different story altogether, but we have to stand on ground on the things that are non-negotiable. And for me, human rights are definitely non-negotiable. But this wasn't a human rights topic or conflict. It was differences of opinion. And I love what Zach Polanski says. He's the head of the Green Party in the UK, where he says there is not enough communities. There hasn't been an investment in communities by the Tory government for so many years that people don't get together and talk about things that they might disagree on. So the battle then is taken onto social media, where people throw mud at each other, or they will just put a laugh emoji on someone's post, even if it's a particularly vulnerable post where someone expressed their distress over something, and they just laugh at it. And I think that's the fuel for conflict right there. So we need to learn to be able to listen to people who don't agree with us. And I'm going to put my hand on my heart. I need to do that as well. I sometimes struggle with it. But I think if we can accept that our opinions are actually not us, if we can detach from our opinions. For example, I can tell you that over the years, my opinions have changed. When I was younger, I had different opinions, and experience softened those opinions or changed them altogether. And now I have different sets of opinions. So I know that opinions can change. And for that reason, I'm not attached to my opinions. I can feel passionate about some of them, but I don't identify with my opinions. And for that reason, I don't think I feel as challenged when people disagree with me. Now, put it to the test of fire, and I might react in a completely different way. And that's definitely something I want to learn to do better, to be able to discuss and debate. But we need these safe spaces when this can happen. And I think that's how we would be able to build a much more lasting peace wherever we go. So that was my little piece around peace, the angel of peace. I think the angel of peace is bringing that energy to help you resolve those situations. Maybe now that Christmas is coming, perhaps you could extend an olive branch to someone that you've had a disagreement with, and now you realize, why did we argue about this for so long? I don't even remember what we argued about. And being able to have the courage to do the first step, and to risk being rejected, right? Perhaps we could do that, all of us, with one person from our past. That doesn't mean that we allow people to walk all over us. That's a completely different debate. But let's just set the energy is supportive of this process. So I'm inviting you to ride the energy to your advantage and to create a little bit more peace in your neighborhood this week. So thank you for listening to me. I don't know why, but I'm not able to see how long I've been talking. I will be better organized next time. I'm just experimenting again. It's been so long since I've come live. So next time I'm hoping that you will come, and I can see one person's watching, that you will come and comment underneath so that we can interact a little bit more. But for now, I'm going to finish this video, and if you, I will be posting it on YouTube, where there's already all the videos for the past 3 weeks. If you're seeing this video and it's not the week of the 22nd of December 2025, it could still apply to you when you find it, because that means that the energy is valid for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll come again next week at the same time. Bye for now.